there?
Go find the link on like Chris sent us. Hey, Chris.
Yes. Hey, Michael.
Yeah, sorry, I was just updating Dean on something really quick. Okay, yeah. Thanks for the introduction. Welcome everyone to today's IC Realtime webinar. In today's webinar, we're going to be discussing Ella. Ella is our new cloud storage solution. However, what makes her different from other cloud storage solutions is the method in which you're able to locate your footage quickly and efficiently using a lot of different technologies that we have applied to the Ella platform, like machine learning algorithms, deep learning algorithms, as well as natural language processing. This basically allows you to find your footage using, for lack of a better term, Google for video. It basically allows you to Google search your video using natural language keywords and allows you to recover the footage that you're looking for. So let's start out at the base level and talk about what allows you to utilize Ella with any of your cameras. So what you see on screen here are our Ella boxes. Now what these boxes do is they are simply applied to the local area network. They all have NIC cards in them that allow you to plug into a switch or a router, and then they will locate all of your cameras on your local area network or even over the internet and allow you to apply those cameras to the Ella platform. Now, a couple of things about these boxes and about the Ella platform itself. Ella is hardware and manufacturer agnostic. So as it's hardware agnostic, you can utilize Ella with IP cameras, NVRs, DVRs, or AVRs. And also, you can utilize Ella along with pretty much any manufacturer in the industry, barring a few exceptions. And those exceptions are that we need to have an RTSP stream that comes from the recorder or the camera. So that would basically mean almost any security camera manufacturer that has produced cameras or recorders in the last 7 to 10 years, as an RTSP stream is something that's utilized by control systems. As long as we have that RTSP stream, we're able to apply all of Ella's technologies to those cameras. So keep in mind that you can utilize Ella on basically any of your previous installs that you've had before, no matter the manufacturer that you're using. Some of the exceptions are going to be manufacturers like Mobotics, Nest, or Ring, as those use proprietary streams that we can't apply the technology to. Otherwise, you can basically use the Ella platform with any other manufacturer's cameras. It's not proprietary to IC Realtime. So the first box that you see here on the left is our standard Ella box. It is a 3-channel or 3-stream box, and it's basically for your residential installs where you may have an end user that wants to apply their front door cameras, backyard camera, or even possibly the driveway camera. Next is going to be your Ella Pro. The Ella Pro is an 8-channel box or 8-stream box, and basically allows you to apply up to 8 cameras to the Ella platform. There's a few differences between the Ella and the Ella Pro, barring the amount of cameras you can apply to it. The 3-channel box basically is a Raspberry Pi. It's not as advanced as the Ella Pro, as the Ella Pro is running a full Core i5 processor, 8 gig bits of RAM, and a 256 gig solid state drive. Now that solid state drive allows for the box to buffer any of your video in the chance that you lose internet connectivity. And once that connectivity is restored, then that footage will be pushed out to the Ella platform for our metadata to be applied to it. Last is our Ella Enterprise, and it's basically a custom blade server that we can design for you for larger installs. And I'm talking about installs 150 to 200 cameras and above. We'll custom build a blade server for you to accommodate those cameras. So that box, when it's on your network, as I mentioned, it locates all of your cameras and recorders and then allows you to select and choose which cameras or recorders you want to apply to the platform. It also runs our machine learning algorithm. Now, that machine learning algorithm is what identifies what we call real motion instances. So what are real motion instances? Basically, they are vehicles, people, animals. Now, this machine learning algorithm is smart enough to identify those real motion instances, but also identify what we call background noise. So trees swaying in the wind, grass, papers moving around, things like that are ignored by this Ella platform. This is not your typical pixel-based motion detection we're talking about here. This is an actual AI that's identifying the differences between those real motion instances and the background noise. Now, once these real motion instances occur, then and only then is the footage sent to the cloud. So that's important because our competitors like your Nests and your Rings, when they're on your network and they're streaming footage to the cloud, it's continuous streaming of footage. So you're using a lot of your internet bandwidth, and if you start to apply more than one Nest or Ring camera, you're going to start to negatively impact your internet connection. The Ella platform is bandwidth economic since it's only streaming to the cloud when those real motion instances are occurring. It's not continuously using up your bandwidth. Our mentality behind that is we really, your end users really only want to know about the instances that are occurring on their cameras and don't really care about the 23 hours and 30 minutes where there's nothing going on in the day. They just really want to know about when those real motion instances are occurring. So that's what we've provided here. Now, once that machine learning algorithm does identify those real motion instances, that's when the footage is sent to the cloud. And when it hits the cloud, we inject it with metadata. Now, for those of you who are not aware, metadata is basically information about the video or image. When you take a picture with your smartphone, that picture is embedded with metadata. Maybe your geolocation, the make and model of the device that you're taking that picture from. Just tons of information in the background that's being injected into that image or video. In the case of the Ella platform, that injected information is basically what about the instance that is occurring, all the details. So for example, the white truck that you see on screen here, that's going to give you your information about the make and model of the truck, whether the truck was departing or approaching, color of the truck, things like that. All that information is being injected into the video, and then that makes that video searchable. So for example, if I wanted to search for someone in a specific color, all I simply need to do is identify people, the specific color, and the camera that I want to recover that footage from. Once I have all those details using just my natural language processing, I'll go ahead and search for that. Now, once I've started my query, what I'm going to get back is every instance of people wearing red on my cameras. So you can instantly see the power of this platform to quickly recover footage. Let's say you had a break-in and you had some identification, maybe from a neighbor about someone that they saw leaving your residence. As soon as you have those details about what color clothes they were wearing and things like that, you can quickly go to the Ella platform, use your natural language, make your query, and instantly find all of your results of those instances that may have happened at your home. Before this, you would have to scrub through hours of footage to be able to locate that video. You would need a time frame, you would need to know which camera, and then you would have to go to your recorder and start to scrub through all of that day's worth of video to find that one instance of footage. With Ella, it takes seconds and not hours. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the technology that we've applied to Ella to make this as effective as it is. So first is going to be optical character recognition. And optical character recognition is an old technology. It's been around for a long time, but it's highly effective when applied to the Ella platform. And it basically allows the cameras to read text on vehicles, clothing of the people that are actually, or vehicles that are actually moving in the scene. So I'll go ahead and do a brief search for FedEx. And what you'll see here is the location of every FedEx trucks on my cameras simply by typing in FedEx. Now, how did this work? It simply read the text off the side of the vehicle, injected that information onto this video, and then simply allowed this to become searchable. Behind our building, we have a potato chip manufacturer. They sell Wise potato chips. So if I simply need to search Wise, and I get back every instance of those trucks on my cameras. I can do that with UPS as well. And now something to keep in mind here is the quality of the camera is going to drastically improve the ability for Ella to read those texts on vehicles and clothing, especially clothing, as the text is generally smaller typically. And for vehicles, it allows you to capture that text even at distance. With something like a 5 to 8 megapixel camera, the platform has the ability to read text off of a vehicle up to half a mile away. The next piece of technology that we're leveraging here is going to be advanced object labeling. And advanced object labeling basically allows you, or allows the platform, to identify makes and models of vehicles, shapes of vehicles, the ability to read badges on vehicles. So I'll go ahead and search for a make and model of vehicle. We'll search for Jeep. And what you're going to see here is every instance of Jeeps on my cameras, including the multiple different makes and models of Jeeps here. So as you can see, I have Jeep Wranglers, Jeep Compasses, Grand Cherokees, pretty much all different types of Jeeps on my cameras. Now, if I wanted to narrow that down to a specific model, I can do that. If I only wanted to search for Wrangler, I have the ability to do that as well. And what you'll see here is all I'm getting back is Jeep Wranglers on my cameras, different colors, different styles, 2-door, 4-door Jeeps. But nonetheless, I get back all those instances of Jeeps on my cameras. Now, also something to keep in mind here is that if you notice, a lot of these Jeeps are in positions where you can't read the badge on the vehicle. That's because the platform has the ability to identify those shapes. Now, how does it have that ability? Well, Ella is a Google Cloud product. So it's leveraging Google's backbone and the 14 years of analytics that it has available to it. So it has all the history of pictures of makes and models of vehicles, so on and so forth. So it's able to then apply those when you're utilizing your search. Now here in your search bar, you have the ability to search using basically any accounts you want to utilize, any specific camera or all cameras. You have zones that you can search from, which I'll show you guys in a second, as well as colors and a calendar. So those zones I mentioned are going to reside under the Live View tab. Now, I did mention that we are not continuously streaming to the cloud. However, once you go to this Live View tab, you have the ability to call up a stream so you can see in Live View. That Live View is basically a D1 resolution, 1 frame per second Live View window. The reason we did this again is because we know that to the end user, Live View is just to take a look at your cameras. But once you are getting all of your notifications and all of your uploads of those instances where something is actually occurring, you don't really need to utilize a Live View, because why check on your cameras when you're certain that your cameras are going to notify you when something is happening? So in that Live View, you can select almost any camera. And when you come here to zones, you have the ability to then create zones that you want to search in. So if I only wanted to search in my driveway, I could utilize that driveway zone and ignore any of the motion instances that occurred on the street or my neighbor's house. Now, if I also want to ignore all of that motion in my neighbor's house, I have the ability to draw and mask out that part of my scene. What that does for me, it's going to minimize any chance of utilizing my instances wasted on things that are occurring across the street. I only want to focus on my home and my driveway, and I'm able to do that with my zones. To create a zone, you simply need to draw the zone in almost any shape. Once you're done drawing, you'll name that zone, and then you'll select what type of zone it is. So we have 3 different zones to select. First is normal, and that's your specified zone, your area of interest that you want to search in. You have negative, which is where you want to ignore motion. It's the red drawing that you see on my neighbor's house. And then you have unhabituated. Now, unhabituated is basically telling Ella, do not ignore any background noise in the scene where I have created this unhabituated zone. So where would you possibly utilize something like that? Probably a school install where you have your cameras looking down hallways and corridors of a school. Now, we know that those are busy and there's a lot of movement, and Ella may look at that as background noise, as it's continuous and going on over and over again. So we will create an unhabituated zone so that Ella knows not to ignore those routines that it's seeing on a day-to-day basis. Now, Ella also gives you the ability to basically search all your uploads straight from the homepage. When you hit the Ella logo, you can start just going through your timeline of the day of the different instances that Ella has uploaded to the platform. Now, once you do your searches, you have the ability to also name and apply labels to your searches. So Ella has a deep learning algorithm. And that deep learning algorithm is applied in 2 ways. First is your ability to upvote or downvote the clips that you're getting returned to you when you're doing a query. The way to do that is our important and not important tabs with a thumbs up and thumbs down. Now, first and foremost, we chose this method of deep learning because it's familiar to your end user. They will know what that important and not important is, or at least understand it, since basically Netflix and Pandora use a very similar method of deep learning algorithm to identify what movies or music you may prefer. That's the same thing that's going on here. You're basically telling the platform, when you do your query, show me more like this if this video matches your search criteria. If this does not match your search criteria, then you'll show fewer events like this. Now, the other aspect of our deep learning algorithm is the labels that are applied. So once I click this checkbox here on the video in question, I'm going to select label. And as you can see here, I have multiple labels here that are applied to that video that make that video searchable. Now, I can delete any of these videos to help me reduce my returns or my false positives for those returns. I can also apply labels if I choose to do so. So if that vehicle was my wife's car, I could simply put wife's car and apply that label to this video, and it would start to learn that any instance of that vehicle on my cameras is my wife's car, and I'll have the ability to then search simply for wife's car and get back every instance of her vehicle on my cameras simply by teaching the Ella platform that that vehicle is in fact my wife's car. Now, with this platform, what we're really doing here is identifying a huge pain point in the industry. And that pain point in the industry is how to quickly and efficiently recover your footage during an instance or during a break-in or what have you that you need to capture footage for. And I've shown you how you're able to quickly and efficiently do that with a lot of our technology here. But one of the other pain points in the industry is exporting the video, what you do with that video once you found it. Generally, on a typical recorder in the industry, you would then have to cut your clip out, basically edit that video, find a starting point and an ending point, and then export that video. The problem with that is most recorders in the industry use proprietary file types that require a proprietary player, and you have to have a thumb drive to remove that footage. And then you've got to give that to your police officer or your investigator, and they have to be able to review that footage. Now, the problem is municipalities are generally heavily firewalled, so they may not be able to play that footage, they may not be able to download that footage, or the player that they need to play that footage. With the Ella platform, it's much, much different. To export video, you simply hit share. Once you hit share, you're going to create a browser-based link. Now, that browser-based link can simply be copied and then pasted into any browser of your choosing. Once you hit paste and go, you have your footage that you've sent to your police officer or your investigator. There's no need for proprietary software, no proprietary file types, and it plays back on basically any player, not needing to get past any kind of firewall. So the Ella platform, when it comes to finding footage and then quickly exporting that footage, is super simple. Now, you also have the ability here to simply download the video if you choose to do so. So I have the option to save my video if it's important to me, so it doesn't get overwritten after my 30 days or whatever amount of time I choose in my plan. And you also have the ability to download that footage as well. So with the downloaded footage, it is basically traceable to the platform that it came from. So why is that important? Because if you need this for any kind of litigation, they may ask you for a watermarked video, and the downloaded video is that watermarked video that you require. So you can hit share to get this quickly to the police department, and then if there is a court proceeding due to this video or the instance that prompted this video, then you'll want to download that video as well and give that to whoever you need to give it to. Now, one of the most powerful functions with the Ella platform is going to be your ability for notifications. Now, notifications are drastically different here than they are on a lot of our competitors' platforms. Any of your search queries that you've made in the past can be turned into a notification. So what does that do for you? That allows you contextual notifications. There's details about the notification that you're not going to get with any of our competitors. So for example, this Jeep Wrangler here, when I do a search for that, once I do that search, if I simply pin that search, now this has become a notification for me. So what does that mean? That means that I'm being notified whenever a Jeep Wrangler is on my cameras. No other vehicle, no other movement, not a person, not an animal, only the search criteria that I specify. So you guys can start to see how powerful that is. Now we can take that a step further, and if I wanted to specify a time frame, I could do that as well. So I could simply put 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I don't need to utilize your traditional methods of entering that data with a 9:00 a.m. I just simply need to enter 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. This natural language processing engine is able to identify what I mean by that. So now when I do a search there, I may not get anything in return for that criteria. However, now my notification is Jeep Wrangler from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So now I'm only being notified in that time frame, maybe when I'm at work, that a Jeep Wrangler is on my cameras. I can even specify a specific color or a date as well, or a range of dates. I can put 2 weeks ago. It really doesn't matter. This natural language processing engine is able to identify all those subtleties of your entry when you search. So that's basically Ella in a nutshell, as in terms of the actual platform. You know, I gave you a lot of technical details, but when you're selling this, really keep in mind that this is Google for video. That's really the simplest way to explain the Ella platform to people, that you can basically search your video for footage just like Google, using your natural language. That's really all there is to it. Now, What we give to our dealers who are able to sell this platform is the ability for recurring monthly revenue. And the way we've done that is we've provided an Ella dealer portal for our dealers. Now that Ella dealer portal basically allows you to do two things. And that's going to be create your plans and then create your customers. Now we have a couple of different verticals here when it comes to the kind of plans that you're able to create. First is going to be Express, and then there's Flex. But let's talk about Flex first. So Flex allows you all of these technologies that I've just mentioned. But the great thing about the Ella platform is that you can offer to your end user as much of that technology or as little or none of that technology if they choose not to utilize it. So with the Flex plan, I can select a residential install. Let's say it's on a cul-de-sac, so my activity level is low. And maybe optical character recognition is not important to my end user. Our minimum days of storage is 30 days. I'll select 2 megapixel cameras. And I'll go ahead and calculate that. And what I get back is a dealer cost of $11.66. And what that gives you is 379 events per camera per 24-hour period. And that $11.66 is per camera. Now, once you have your dealer price, you have the ability to then mark that up. So let's say you know that your end user is willing to pay $15. Fantastic. Go ahead and mark that up to $15. And then you'll go ahead and you'll publish that plan. So once you've published that plan, you're going to configure your customer. And you're simply going to add all of your customer details, select yes, select one or multiple plans that you want to send to that end user, and simply add that customer. Now that end user is going to receive a notification about those plans, and they're going to come to their account tab. And they're going to see those plans that you've sent to them. Now, when they see those plans that you've sent to them, they're simply going to add the amount of cameras they want and go to purchase those that plan. Now, the way we handle billing is our back-end payment processor called Stripe. Stripe handles all your billing. You'll apply it to your dealer portal here. And once you've applied it to your dealer portal, they will bill your end user every month. Your end user will simply pay off that plan. Stripe will then deposit your dealer markup into your Stripe account and our dealer costs into our Stripe account. So there's no waiting for quarterly checks. There's no waiting to have to get a payout from us. You get paid as soon as the end user pays their bill. So that basically covers all of the Ella platform. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and, before I move on to a few things that I did want to mention, I do want to take any questions that you guys may have currently before I mention a few other new and noteworthy things about IC Realtime. So Chris, or anybody else, does anybody have any questions on the Ella platform?
Guys, this is a great time. If you guys have any questions, please post in the questions box. We've got Michael on the webinar right now, right from IC Realtime. You know, great resource, and I know how it goes. As soon as we get off the webinar, the question's going to pop in. It looks like we do have one question coming in. Searching for stuff you know about is great. What about trying to find something you don't know about?
Okay, so we have one question here. Searching for stuff you know about is great, but what about trying to find something you don't know about? So that's a great question. Let's say, for example, it's a break-in in a home. Well, we know that if you have a driveway camera, or if you have a camera at your front door or your backyard, it's going to be a person that has broken into your home. So all you simply need to do is search for people, if that's what you're looking for. And it's going to give you every instance on your cameras of people. So you're going to be able to quickly identify if someone is walking up to your cameras, or if they've walked onto your property. Now, if you don't know a make and model of vehicle, great, just put car or truck, and that's going to return to you every time a vehicle was on your cameras. So if you don't know what you're looking for, start out at the basic level and then build up from there. Any other questions, you guys?
You know what, guys? Hey, this is Dean. I'm in here with Michael, guys. Thanks for everybody being on. So on the sales side on this, you know, think about the applications on both residential and commercial. Kevin and I have gone over a lot of this. Steve Concert was down here for the distribution training, and we went over a lot of the detail as well. I'll give you an example. In my house, I have 8 cameras all the way around the perimeter of the house. But I only used 3 cameras for the front of the house. I have a camera on both garages and on the porch. You know, as you get familiar with this, or if you need help, you can call Michael or myself. But you don't have to put all of your customers' cameras on a system, right? Use the ones that you think will be most advantageous. A lot of residences are only doing the 3 cameras, and their comfort zone seems to be about the, you know, the $30 to the $50 a month charge, because that's what people are accustomed to. You know, we pay for phones, we pay for Pandora, we pay for iCloud, and there's always going to be that comfort zone. So, you know, you take that with the RMR to your dealer, and if you have any questions with that, please get with Kevin, myself, you know, I'll get you with Michael. But, you know, let's look at this on the sales side and practicality as well, because it really is endless.
So if no one has any other questions on the Ella platform and they're kind of clear about the functionality and how to sell it, I'll go ahead and move on to a couple of things that we did want to make you guys aware of. First is going to be, and where do we put that?
It'll come up on the banner next. There it is.
All right, is our Control 4 certification here. So we've now become a certified Control 4 integrations manufacturer. So what that means is our Control 4 drivers are certified by Control 4, that you'll be able to locate them on their website. They're completely compatible with Control 4 systems. And this is important for a lot of your integrators. We're constantly being asked if we are a certified Control 4 integration manufacturer, and currently now we are. A couple of things to keep in mind with that Control 4 certification. It is a camera certification. Control 4, as a control system, doesn't want to pull streams from the recorder itself, as it's going to take from that recorder a lot of the bandwidth that recorder needs to stream that footage. It more likes to pull the stream from the camera. So when we went for that certification, Control 4 only wanted the drivers that are used to either pull streams from the camera or utilize any control from those cameras. Anybody have any questions on the?
Yeah, scroll down for them. I want to show you'll actually all the way to the bottom, and you're going to see a list of the cameras there, which they.
Yep, these are on that wiki. You'll find the list of all of the supported Control 4 cameras that can utilize that driver.
Guys, you sell Control 4, is that correct? Hello?
Most of our dealers are not C4 dealers.
Gotcha. Okay. So what control systems do they utilize?
Most are either utilizing URC, as Capital Sales used to distribute URC, or RTI control systems.
Or RTI controls. Okay. So with those, I'll show you guys really quick on the IC Realtime website that if you need any of your dealers to get access to any of those drivers, we are actually posting them in our forum here. Right now we have Control 4, Elan, and Crestron, but we are applying RTI along with the rest of the control systems that are available. We're also bringing on Josh AI as another compatible control system with IC Realtime. If you guys are not familiar with Josh AI, they basically use natural language processing instead of a graphical user interface to provide you that control system functionality. So really quick, before we close out here, I wanted to show you guys a few of the cameras to best utilize with the Ella platform.
We've got a few other questions as well coming in here.
Okay.
Next one, do we have the ability to do any, or can the Ella learn specific person's face recognition, so be able to search through that as well?
That's a great question. So we were supposed to have that out by the end of this year. We are working on a few small bugs, but Q1 next year we'll be introducing the facial recognition aspect of our platform. I'll show you here under dealer portal, under the plans. We already have the face detection and facial recognition entry here. So we've been working on this for quite a long time. You'll be able to upload an image, label that image, or grab an already established video from the Ella platform, apply a full name to that label, and then facial recognition will take over and start to identify that image, that face going forward. So yes, facial recognition is coming in Q1. Another piece of technology that we're applying very soon is going to be gesture-based or behavioral analytics. So the ability to search for things like punch, kick, shove, trip, push, fall, which again would make this much more powerful. We just didn't want to apply all of these technologies at the outset and confuse a lot of people as to what the platform can really do.
Okay. And then also, how do you define the events for being able to be actively notified, such as email push notification? Also, what is the functionality available through the actual app itself?
That's a great question. So the app is basically a pass-through. So Ella is a browser-based platform. There is no software to install. You basically log into to the Ella platform from any browser of your choosing. There's no ActiveX plugins at play here. This is HTML5, so you can log into this on Firefox, Internet Explorer, Edge, Chrome. It doesn't really matter. As it's browser-based, the app is basically just a pass-through. So it looks exactly the same in the app as it does look here in the browser, because the app is basically just a pass-through to the browser. Now those notifications are sent through email. Now you have the option here to receive notifications to the email address that you see in the top right corner. This is going to be the email address that is applied to the system. To enable those notifications, as I mentioned, you're simply going to tap that pin on the left side of any of my search history. That will enable your notifications. Now, if you wanted to notify multiple people, you have the ability to add guests to the platform. Do keep in mind when you do add a guest to the platform, though, if it's a can view guest, then they will not receive those notifications. You will need to create them as a can manage guest. And once you do that, they will also receive the notifications by email, same as the main email address on the account.
But explain to them they don't have access to the account, they're just able to view it.
Well, can view doesn't have access to the account today. Yeah.
And then the next question is, can you give a quick summary of the one-time dealer demo program at $99?
All right, so what we're doing is on the demo program, the standard Ella box is $199 and at dealer cost. So your distributor program would come off of that. So what we would do is $99. And guys, this for the PO, it's written under the ICR side. We do have it through Clearview, but if you are an ICR distributor, we want it to go through that. So the PO comes through ICR at $99 minus your distributor plan. We ship that product directly to the customer only. The reason we've done this is because when we first started, we had some guys that took the deal, didn't take the time to get it registered and get it set up and never activated. And that defeats the whole purpose for both yourselves and for IC Realtime. So we will drop ship it to the customer for you per your purchase order, help the customer set up their dealer portal and set themselves up as a user login, activating the cameras and use that for demo purposes. Okay, I have it in my house. I have the 3 cameras, and I learned so much more from the product just by using it myself and getting into it than I ever would sitting here on the training.
Hey, Dean, I hate to do this to you, but you're too far away from the phone. Nobody can hear you. We keep getting.
Where's your mic at, Mike? All right, so I'm sorry. Yeah, I was over on the end of the desk. So dealer cost is normally $199. And so the demo is a direct drop ship written under the ICR side account that $99 unless your distributor program. We will drop ship to the customer. We will help them set up their dealer portal and their user login information. Okay, so it's a really strong deal. It's a one-time deal per dealer. Again, I have it in my house, and I learned much more by using it and applying it. As well for the dealer, they'll use it for demonstration purposes for sales presentations moving forward. Now, another thing on this is the plans themselves. If your dealer wants to go and start playing with this, they can go on to the Ella dealer portal like Michael had gone over previously and register for an account. There's no cost for that. Okay, so they could go in and play once we send them back a registration. And what they can do is create plans, get familiar with the product, look at the difference between the flex, look at the business, the commercial, the residential with OCR, without. And as well, I'm always available, doing this for you guys also. So what else, guys? Good questions, man. Anything else? Is Mike Marcos on the call or Steve M? I was working on a couple projects with them.
I don't believe they are.
Okay.
Now, I know one question came in with the app with a question mark next to it. I know we went over the app a bit. The app, guys, looks identical to what it looks like in the web browser. The difference is it just has an app icon to be able to launch right into it. Otherwise, it's a mirror image of what you get, what you've been seeing through this web browser.
Yeah, so I'm looking at my Ella app right now. I'm opening up. It's a free app. And what you do is when you open it up and you set everything up, nice thing about Ella, guys, is remember, everything's set up. You're viewing instances, as Michael said, and it's all set up chronologically. So you're going to see from the most recent, literally to, I had a motion in my house now that was just 2 minutes ago, 10:40, okay, and it's 10:42 here. So you can scroll through this, and if you're on your app, on your mobile phone, if you just tap once on that, it will give you a quick visual as if you were scrolling and panning across that video, the same as you can do on the browser side, on the website. So you really need to play with these so you can see some of these features. It's pretty cool. You know, I could quickly tap on one of my pictures on my app and see, you know, if the dog's walking down the sidewalk or what emotion is quick. And then to see that on the app in large view, you just double click.
Do you guys have any other questions? Now is a great time to ask, but I also know how it works. As soon as we get off the phone, whether it's right after or at the end of the day or next week or next month when something comes up, if you have those questions, feel free to reach out to myself at Capital, your account manager at Capital, IC Realtime. We're all here to help you out. We all would love to talk to you and answer any questions or go over any projects you guys may have. With that being said, do you guys have any other questions that you would like to ask Dean or Michael?
Hey, Chris, is Kevin on this call? Kevin, you there?
Absolutely. How's it going?
All right, could you just follow up with them on this? Because we do always get questions. And, you know, make sure everybody has my contact as well and Michael's email. Michael is via email because he wears about 20 hats around here, so he's not always accessible via phone. But we assure you that he will get back to you very quickly via email.
Will do.
All right, gentlemen and ladies, anybody that's on there. Anything else, guys? If not, I'll let Michael close off here.
There's one other question that just came in. Just to verify, it's stating, is this recorded for later playback? How is that all stored, as well as how long is it stored for?
So you have storage options, and they're basically infinite in length. Minimum is 30 days, but you can get 60 days, 90 days. You can get a year. It's basically up to you now. Once it's basically like any other cloud storage solution. At the end of the it's a first in, first out function. As your days go by, your footage will be cleared out. If you need to save any of your clips, you have the ability to do that here. once you save that clip will not be overwritten at the end of your allotted time frame. Any other questions, guys? If not, really quick, I just want to take you guys and show you a few of the cameras that are most effective with the Ella platform. And really, it's going to be our Starlight cameras. Our Starlight cameras give you the ability to have low light color image processing. Cameras like our D3812 SL5 and 2812 SL5, these are using Sony Starvis CMOS sensors in them. And that Sony Starvis CMOS sensor basically allows for nighttime color image processing. As you guys know, with IRs, your cameras are basically black and white. Your image is in black and white when your IRs are on. Something exactly like you guys see here. The problem with that is your color scheme is now minimized and reduced because you can only search basically black, white, or gray. So your low light color image processing is going to give you the ability at nighttime to be able to fully utilize the Ella platform even at night, identify those, make those same identifications that you would if you had daytime image processing. So I just wanted to make you aware of that as something that you could sell alongside the Ella platform. So with that, any other questions before I go ahead and close out this webinar? Okay, so as Dean mentioned, we are all available here for any questions or concerns you guys may have. If you guys want just to go over this further later on or bring a dealer on for a webinar or a demonstration, we're more than happy to do that as well. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us on today's webinar. And again, anything you need, IC Realtime is here to assist you. This is only the second of many webinars that we're going to be doing, so there's a lot of information we're going to be covering in the future. But thank you very much, everybody, for joining today's webinar, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Dean. And thank you guys as well for taking time on your day. And if you guys have any questions, again, feel free to reach out to Capital Sales. And I hope to see you guys on the next webinar.
Take care, everyone.